What's up everybody, Nate back with another video today. For those new to the channel, I own a custom integration company, meaning I help people implement technology into their homes and businesses. If you are ever interested in hiring us for your AV design or consulting, our contact information is available in the description below. If you're building a new house and you're interested in what types of products to include in your new smart home, we have a guide in the description. And every product that we talk about, as always, in any of our videos is linked below so that you can go and buy it yourself. Today's video, we're going to talk about all the different types of tools that we use on a day-to-day basis in AV design for residential. Everything from how we pull wires, our networking equipment, and what we use to terminate, label, and all the little tips and tricks that we have that we've learned through trial and error over the past couple of years that make your installs go smooth. Okay, so I'm going to break this out into categories and I'll link them down in the description below so you can jump to whatever category makes the most sense for you or something that you're interested in. But we'll start with networking. So the number one piece of equipment that I can advise that you get if you're looking to either work on networking in your own home or you are in this industry is some form of a label maker. We use this Dymo Rhino 5200. One of the key things with this particular label maker is ordering nylon labels, which I'll link below. If you use any of the other labels, regardless of what it says on Amazon or on Dymo's website, they will peel off. So the nylon ones that are made by Dymo, they are the only ones that seem to stick long-term to cables, especially when you're printing them in the cable mode. So I'll link a little video here to show you how the difference of the different types of modes that you can print in, but we typically have them so that it's printing in the actual cable mode and you can read it from all angles. Another piece for any of the network side of things, terminating wise, we don't use pass-through RJ45s. You would need a different crimper if you were going to do that, but we use a standard RJ45 crimper. Another piece that is invaluable when you are doing Cat 6 cables, which is what we are typically working on, is some form of a sheathing stripper. This, you just put the cable inside to the correct depth, run it around the cable, and it will cut just the sheathing and leave your pairs unharmed. This makes it significantly easier when you are in the field actually terminating cables. And then the opposite end, when you're doing a punch down or a keystone, this it's made by Cable Matters. It comes with the ends or the keystones that we order, but this allows you to put the keystone in here and gives you something that your palm can hold on to. I have in another video, I gave a description of this product, but this is a super useful piece, especially if you're doing a lot of keystones. So like we've talked about in the past, we use mostly modular patch panels, so obviously we're doing a bunch of keystones when we do that. This saves your hand by the end of the day. Also, as far as terminating go, we have our punch down tool. It comes with two different blades, giving you the ability to swap them out. We use a flush cut tool for trimming. A lot of people use data scissors as well. The benefit on the scissors is typically your wires don't fly when you cut them. We typically end up using flush cuts. And then we have some coax termination tools. We don't do a ton of coax, but it does happen. Here we have mostly Cox and Xfinity for the ISP. And a lot of times we need to relocate where the drop is coming in so that we can put the modem in the rack. So this is just a compression tool that allows you to put the fitting on the end of RG6. And this is the stripping tool for coax. Another incredibly useful tool is the cable comb. Jonard makes one of these. There's a couple different companies did. We actually 3D printed our own. But so essentially you take, when you are pulling anything over like 10 to 15 cables into a network rack, you can take your trunk and you organize them into each individual slot on here. Place that inside of this ring and it allows you to, as you pull, you can Velcro the trunk all the way down, giving you a nice, clean, finished look to your wires coming into your actual rack. Very useful tool. Doesn't get used constantly. A lot of our, as you've seen, a bunch of our jobs are mostly residential. So not every residential job has 15 to 20 drops, but in new construction where we are pulling a lot of cat, this is where we use these, and it does make a huge difference. Next, we'll talk about wire pulling. So a couple of the tools that are incredibly useful for us for pulling wires throughout residential houses, as you've seen in some previous videos, are glow rods or pull rods or fiberglass sticks. They go by a bunch of different names. You can buy them all over the place. Milwaukee makes some really nice ones that glow. Klein has nice ones. These are actually just Harbor Freight ones, but they're fiberglass. They come in, I would say I guess they're like 3 to 4 foot sections, and they spin together, making, you can go up to, like, this kit does 33 feet total. They make a bunch of different diameter ones. These are 3/16. I love these things. We use them constantly. They have a bunch of different ends that you can put on them. So you have a hook, you have an eyelet, you have all sorts of different things, and we'll attach. So we'll take the eyelet end and we will put a chain on it. And then the other biggest thing that we use is magnets. So let's say you are fishing for like a TV location. They make, there is a product called the Wall Buddy. I want to say that's what it's called, but it does a really good job of allowing you to snake the cable all the way down. But let's say you're trying to go around in a corner. So you could take your fish rod or your whatever you're pushing with, and then on the opposite end you put a magnet on it, allowing them to get to touch, and then you can pull backwards. Really, the magnets have probably gotten me out of the most jams of trying to get a wire into a hard to reach place. So if there's any like inexpensive piece of product I say keep in your toolbox, magnets. Another big one is a fish tape. So we use the Milwaukee metal fish tape. They do make a fiberglass one as well, which I haven't tried. I would assume it's very nice and works well. This is a steel one. It's a 1/4 inch fish tape. It has a nice plastic piece on the end with an eyelet that allows you to connect your cable to. We use this constantly. So fishing up and down conduit, anything that's rigid. So you have something that's going to bounce back and forth on, but you need to make some like a pretty aggressive angle, or there's going to be a 45 or a 90 in it. That is what we use the fish tape for. The number one piece of advice I can give you with a fish tape is make sure if it gets wet, you dry it off well, because when they rust inside of this, it's a pain, and you might as well just chuck it if it gets rusty. It does happen. We've gone through a bunch of them over the past 2 years, but this is an incredibly useful tool to have, especially if you are similar to us and you are doing mostly residential retrofit work. Our next category would be drilling or any type of holes that you need to make. So we use 3 different types of drill bits for the most part. A hole saw kit is going to be probably one of your more advantageous ones that you're going to have. We use the dozer kit from Milwaukee, which allows us to have a pilot bit on the inside of your hole saw, as well as, let's say you make your hole too small first and you need to enlarge it. This kit allows you to put your first hole saw that matches the size that you were in, and then the larger one on the outside, giving you something to center the bit on. If you don't, you're just going to walk that larger hole saw everywhere and you're not going to get a clean cut. The next thing that we use super frequently is auger bits. These are Diablo auger bits. This is the reason we like these is they have this bit at the top that gets it started. They're incredibly sharp. They rip through anything that we ask them to. You can run them on our little 12-volt drills and they work fine for our use case. I like this kit. I've had a bunch of different ones in the past and they end up going dull pretty quick. You got to sharpen them, and that is just like the nature of it. This kind of falls into like a disposable tool category, but these hold their edge for a really long time, and we have really enjoyed this kit of Diablo bits. And a one-off tool that is very useful is a right angle attachment for your drill. So we just had a great example of having to need this. We were cutting in a power relocation kit, and there was a stud directly right here, and we had to get down to the other side of it, but we only had our like maybe like a 4-inch hole that we were going through. So this allows us to snake this inside, and then it allows us to drill sideways directly through. The same thing could be accomplished with like the Milwaukee whole hog from their like 18-volt series, just not something that we currently have. But this allows you to attach it incredibly easily to so now I have the drill spinning, but it is spinning this way, allowing us to drill sideways. Which is incredibly useful, as you can imagine. Tools that we use, we like the 12-volt series from Milwaukee. 90% of what we do is perfectly fine to use the 12-volt series. We have a couple of the bigger batteries that go with them. But the main things we have is a impact. We have a standard hammer drill and driver, which again, we pretty rarely use this for drilling into like stone or concrete. We use the bigger drill for that. We have an oscillating tool. This is the workhorse for us. We use this frequently. When we're not using this, we use a standard jab saw for drywall, but here in New England, we have lots of plaster walls, which you can't use like a hand jab saw with. We have all sorts of different blades for this. The blades that I like, same as the drill bits, we use Diablo blades for them. And then we have the hacksaw, which is incredibly convenient for, let's say you are cutting in a back box for a TV and there's fire blocking in the wall. This allows you to just go. So it's fire blocking, for those that don't know, is non-structural bracing that runs in between your stud bays. It is always, without fail, wherever you want to put a back box, you can almost guarantee that there's going to be a fire blocking there. This allows you to cut it out, and you can just move it down to out of the way from where you are putting your box. Let's talk about the real workhorse for us is this Milwaukee fuel vacuum. We use this on every job. I'm a big proponent of making sure that you leave your job site cleaner than when you got there. This runs on the same 12-volt batteries that our drills and drivers do. It is incredibly quiet, it has plenty of suction. It has it's a great little piece of equipment. This is like, I think I've had 3 other vacuums. So like we had like the rigid small vacuum. We have like your standard big shop vacs. Nothing beats this thing. It's tiny. It's a small footprint, which is always good for us. We have a smaller van, so this helps not take up a ton of room, but this is a great piece. If you're doing any type of install, no matter what it is, if you're some form of a contractor, electrician, whatever trade you are in, this is a very useful piece. That's all of our primary tools and things that we use day to day on installs. Everything from wire pulling to how we terminate. Our van does have quite a bit more equipment in it. Things like pull string that we use when we're putting in conduit, miscellaneous tools, things that I've talked about in other videos that we kind of count as disposable inventory, like low voltage boxes, power strips, all different types of keystone plates and things like that. That all lives in the van and doesn't have necessarily pack out equipment that goes with it. So like I mentioned in the beginning, I will link every product that we talk about. If you have questions about individual products, shoot me a DM, leave a comment, let me know. We'll run through them.